Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Three Koi Fishes. I'm your host, Joy, and today we're tackling a topic that can feel incredibly challenging, frustrating, and sometimes, let's be honest, a little embarrassing for parents: hitting and biting. Whether it's a frustrated toddler lashing out or a curious baby exploring with their mouth, knowing how to respond effectively is key. We're going to dive into age-appropriate strategies to help guide our little ones towards more positive ways of expressing themselves. Joining me, as always, are two incredible moms: my seasoned friend Sophie, who has navigated these waters multiple times, and our insightful Abigail, mom to 2-year-old Joey and 6-month-old Lori. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks, Joy. This is such a common behavior, and it's easy for parents to feel isolated or like their child is the only one. But understanding the why behind it is the first step to knowing how to respond.
Hi, Joy. Hi, Sophie. This topic is incredibly timely for me. Joey just turned 2, and we're starting to see occasional hitting when he's frustrated, especially with other kids, or even with Lori sometimes. And Lori, at 6 months, is starting to mouth everything, including my arm if I'm not careful. I really need to know the best way to handle both.
Thanks for bringing that up, Abigail. It's so true that it manifests differently at different ages. Sophie, can you help us understand why hitting and biting happen, particularly for toddlers and babies?
Absolutely. For babies, like Lori at 6 months, mouthing and gumming is purely exploratory. They learn about their world with their mouths, and teething can make them want to bite down on anything, including you. It's rarely intentional aggression. For toddlers, like Joey at 2, it's a very different story. They're experiencing huge emotions: frustration, anger, overwhelm, but their language skills aren't developed enough to express them effectively. So they resort to physical actions. It can also be about testing boundaries. What happens if I do this? Cause and effect. If I bite, they move. Seeking attention, even negative attention. Overstimulation or tiredness. Meltdown mode.
That explanation really helps put Joey's actions into perspective. It's hard not to take it personally sometimes. So, when it happens, what's the immediate, age-appropriate response we should have?
That's crucial. The immediate response needs to be firm, calm, and consistent. For any age, the first step is to stop the behavior. Physically intervene if necessary. For a baby biting, use a firm voice and say, "No biting," or "no," and immediately remove them from the biting situation or remove the object. Give them something appropriate to chew on, like a teether. Their intent isn't malice, so the response is about redirection and setting a clear boundary. For a toddler hitting or biting, like Joey, immediately intervene with a firm, low voice and say no hitting or biting. Hitting and biting hurts? Then, immediately turn your attention to the child who is hurt.
Yes, attending to the victim is paramount. It teaches the child who hit or bit that hitting or biting doesn't get them attention. Rather, the attention goes to the person who was hurt. Say something like, "Are you okay? Let me help you." This also models empathy. After the victim is safe and attended to, then address the child who hit or bit.
So, we stop it, and then we help the person who was hurt. What's next for the child who did the hitting or biting? Do we put them in timeout right away?
For a toddler, a brief timeout or a calm down corner can be effective, but it needs to be age appropriate, usually 1 minute per year of age. The goal isn't punishment, but to help them regulate their emotions. Make sure it's consistent. Because you hit, you need to sit here for 2 minutes to calm your body.
And it's vital to remember: never hit or bite a child back. This teaches them that hitting is an acceptable response when you're angry, which is the exact opposite of what you want to communicate. You are their model.
That's a good reminder. It's so tempting to react in frustration sometimes. So, once we've intervened immediately, what are the long-term strategies for teaching them better ways to express themselves?
This is where the real work happens. You need to teach them feelings and alternatives. For toddlers like Joey, help them identify their emotion. You look frustrated. Are you mad? Then give them words. When you feel mad, you can say mad, or you can stomp your feet or hug a pillow. Practice using gentle hands.
Role-playing is incredibly powerful. Use stuffed animals or dolls and act out scenarios. Oh no, Teddy Bear is mad. What can Teddy do instead of hitting? This makes it a game and helps them internalize alternatives in a non-threatening way. And crucially, praise them enthusiastically when you see them using gentle hands or words, even if it's just once. Wow, you used your words to tell me you were mad. That was excellent.
I love the idea of role-playing. That sounds like something Joey would enjoy. How can we prevent hitting and biting from happening in the first place? Are there triggers we should look out for?
Absolutely, prevention is key. Often, hitting and biting are triggered by 1. Overwhelm or overstimulation, too many people, too much noise. 2. Tiredness or hunger, basic needs unmet. 3. Frustration, not being able to communicate what they want. Or 4. Lack of structure, not knowing what's next. Try to identify your child's specific triggers. Provide a predictable routine, ensure they're well rested and fed.
And provide appropriate outlets for big emotions. A child who feels frustrated might need to run around outside, hit a pillow, or engage in sensory play to release that energy. Close supervision, especially during high-risk times like sharing toys or new play dates, is also vital. Intervene before the explosion if you see the signs.
This all sounds like a lot of work, and sometimes I feel so drained or even embarrassed if it happens in public. How do you deal with those parental emotions?
You are not alone. Every parent has been there. It's completely normal to feel frustrated, embarrassed, or even angry. Acknowledge those feelings, but don't act on them. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself it's a developmental stage, not a personal failing. Find a quick way to regulate yourself before responding to your child.
And remember, your child isn't being bad. They're struggling with a big emotion and lacking the skills to cope. Your job is to teach them those skills. A quick apologetic glance to another parent in public, and then get back to calmly handling your child. Most people understand.
So, to recap, immediate firm responses, teaching new skills, proactive prevention, and managing our own emotions are all part of the puzzle. But when should parents be concerned enough to seek professional help?
If the hitting or biting is persistent, escalating in intensity or frequency, causing serious harm, or if your child is consistently hitting or biting beyond the age of 3 to 4, when their communication skills are typically more developed, it's worth a conversation. Also, if they show very little empathy for others, or if they seem to be losing previously learned skills, consult your pediatrician. They can rule out underlying issues or refer you to a behavioral specialist or child psychologist.
That's really important guidance, Sophie. Dealing with hitting and biting is one of the toughest challenges of toddlerhood, but with consistency, patience, and these strategies, you can guide your child toward expressing their big feelings in healthy, appropriate ways.
This has been incredibly reassuring and practical. Thank you both so much. You girls rock.
And thank you all for tuning into 3 Koi Fishes. If you have your own tips for managing hitting and biting, please share them in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Join us next time for more parenting discussions.